What's up, gardeners? I'm here with some Phlox paniculata, also known as the garden phlox. I have a couple plants that are growing in beautifully right here, as well as a couple more that I'm going to be planting here in a moment. Now, garden phlox, this is a native North American perennial. It's a herbaceous clumping perennial, noted to be grown from zones 4 to 8. And it is rather a long-lived perennial, which is one of the reasons it has been a favorite for gardeners planting perennials for a very long time. And the main reason they're so beloved is they produce these beautiful panicle blooms that have just such a wonderful, fresh fragrance. It's unlike any other fragrance. And what's really divine about these plants is that as they continue to grow, they will form really lovely little clumps that will fill out wherever you have them planted. Now, they can be a little bit, challenging at first to find the right situation because this is a sun-loving to a half-shade-loving perennial, but it does like moist soils. If you're unable to really provide it really well moist soils, they can be susceptible to what's known as powdery mildew. That can be avoided by not overhead watering, rather watering at the base of your plant, or like I do, I have in this flowering bed behind me, I have a watering system, a drip system, which if you're looking on how to install a drip system, which is my favorite way to do irrigation, super easy, super cheap, look down in the description below. You'll find a link to a video that I've done all about that. And that is really the best way to provide them additional moisture if they are grown in an area that doesn't really have a lot of consistent moisture like my garden, like this particular garden bed would not. Now, one of the other reasons I love them is their vertical nature makes them really easy to incorporate into perennial beds. I have mine paired with things like Hydrangea macrophylla, Crocosmia, as well as Alchemilla mollis, and some sedum ground covers. And this produces just that really lovely vertical interest. And as you can see right now, these plants right here are starting to bud up. We are in the last week of May here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, zone 6B7A. So that gives you a good idea that they'll generally start to produce their flowers at the end of spring or early summer, unless you decide to employ what's called the Chelsea chop. Now, the Chelsea chop is a method of cutting back perennials in the beginning part of May. Plants that tend to get a little bit too tall, a little bit floppy once they start to flower, it can be a good idea to trim them back in May before they've produced those flower buds. That'll create a much more compact plant, but it will also delay the flowering time. If you're looking for more information on the Chelsea chop, another link in the video description below. Now, my family and I were about to head on a trip for the next few weeks, so I'm going to be missing out on these flower buds. So I am actually going to give it a little bit of a trim back so that I can enjoy the flowers a little bit later. They're also a very good candidate for reblooming if you do allow your flowers to open naturally on their own time frame, and then cutting them back by about 8 to 10 inches after they've finished flowering. Because you're able to do so early in the season, they will generally produce a second flush of flowers towards the end of summer or early autumn. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to just cut off that top section. And when you are trimming back, doing that Chelsea chop or any sort of routine maintenance, you always want to prune right above a leaf node. So I'm actually going to go down to this section right here, and then I will go around to all of the plant material. So if you have been growing varieties of phlox that get too tall and they flop over, try this method next year in the early May time, and it should keep your plant smaller and help them to not get so floppy. So as you can see, I have some extra space that I can fill out with some more plants. Right here I have the Red Riding Hood variety, as well as I think it's Zoe. Now in my flower beds, you can see I always keep the foliage on the beds. It really helps to create a really nice rich soil. You can see just how luscious that is. Lots of little worms growing in there. And I also like to use raw wood chips as a mulch. That's also going to help lock moisture into the ground, which will also help it to stay away from that powdery mildew. So when you pop it out of your container, just gently break those roots up. And then when you get it planted, make sure that soil line is flush with the top of the soil line in here. get it planted, and then move that mulch right back on. Now, along with being absolute pollinator magnets, they are also tolerant of clay soils, which is very helpful, especially if you live down south or where we are in Pennsylvania. And they are also noted to be able to be grown around black walnuts, which, if you're unfamiliar, black walnuts produce a chemical that is transmitted generally in the soil via their root system, and a lot of plants can't handle being grown around them, but garden phlox can. And with that, now you know a little bit more about growing and caring for your garden phlox, Phlox paniculata. If you do have any other further questions or comments, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you next time. Ciao.